Welcome. This is YouTube Live and my name is Jacqueline. I am delighted to be here tonight in Zurich, Switzerland. We are going to have a fantastic time this evening because there's so much we need to talk about, all to do with the positive future. And I can see all of you on the YouTube chat. It's so amazing. Lots of love from France. Someone saying, Dia Ruth N4C, much love from Trulicon. Hello. Hello from San Juan Island. Scott Gates. Yes, I can see you. Of course, if I mention your name, there will be a live purification, and we'll talk about that in a bit if you're new and you don't know what that is. But hi, David E. Dubano. I can see you, Joe Riley. Hello from Cornwall, you're saying. And look, there's someone in Zurich. Ellis Kiva. Hi, really good to have you here. I can see people in Norway, Albania, Peru, Wales, South America, Balgowan in South Africa, North Carolina, you Dutchies, so many of you tonight. Calgary and Idaho, Liechtenstein and Poland, Sweden, Vancouver Island, purifying Switzerland. That is right. And we're going to be talking about CERN a little bit tonight, so make sure you get your questions on the chat if you want to ask me a bit about that. Vilcabamba, Spain, Canada, Florida. Hello. Yes, it's so nice to see you too. Lucille. Hello from Romania, someone is saying. Oh, I haven't been there yet, but I would love to visit. Love from Stroud, says Charlotte Gowers 3418. And Mexico. It looks like you're having a bit of a milk latte there. I'm not too into the milk sometimes, and the latte is not quite strong enough, but all good. Hello, Alberta, and hello from Florida, someone saying. John Raisins S3Z, you are 4 a.m. in Melbourne. Amazing. Thank you so much for getting up. I never forget you guys in Australia, and one day I definitely hope to come and see you someday soon. There's someone there in Dublin, and somebody says CERN is closing today. You are correct. Funny how that happens, isn't it? For these long stretches, we are definitely going to comment. But first of all, who is this in Russia? Taganrog, welcome. I am so happy you are here. Somebody in Lursden, and somebody else from Hood River in Oregon is saying hello. That's Karen Murphy. Hello. And Philippa Lang, Ashburton, Dartmoor in the UK. We have someone in Israel. Hello. Someone who's born in Zurich and now in Arizona. Amazing state in the States. Arizona is so beautiful, those skies. And also, what about the salsa and the guacamole? Amazing. So somebody in Sardinia. Hi and love to all of you in Maui, of course. Hawaii recently, our silent immersion retreat. What an amazing experience that was to be there on Molokai. So this is YouTube Live with Jacqueline, and actually, you know, it's something that we used to do when we first started with Oracle Girl all that time ago. It's our 10-year anniversary this year, and we had some time away from YouTube while they had their little purification during the illness period, and now YouTube is back with a much better offering for everyone, and so Oracle Girl is back on YouTube too. I really love to speak to all of you live, and I really want to meet lots of new people out there who kind of maybe realize that there's something going on the planet. Maybe a part of them believes that the future is positive, but that's fast withering away, or you know it is and you want to hear more about that. Just welcome all of you. And we're going to have a really good backwards and forwards tonight on the chat. You can ask me anything that you want to. I'm going to keep on saying hello to all of you. For example, in Tasmania, in Australia there, somebody else in Tunisia, Tara Noor Said, hello. Someone in Poznan and Poland as well. And we may also do a little bit of our reawaken and purification things as well while we're chatting. So, who am I for those of you who are new? Well, my name is Oracle Girl on my website and on social media, but actually, it's a lot more than just that name suggests. I am an advanced being and I am here from the future. No, I am not an alien. I didn't turn up on a spaceship, and I'm not some enlightened guru either. I am very, very human. But perhaps the best way to put it is that I have a lot of abilities, which mean that I am able maybe to have some insights into human life and what's happening here on the planet that maybe many humans can feel and are thinking about, but I have a lot more than that. I have the ability to send out a wave in myself, which then connects with everyone who is signing up for my events, and then your own ability to trim out of yourself all the stuff that is getting in the way and troubling you comes online so much more powerfully and directly than usual. It's almost like I hold a space where you recenter, and your own natural ability to take healthy control of your life amplifies and intensifies. The rest I'll tell you a little more about later, because you have to experience it for yourself. And this is a live space. It's not about teachings. It's not about knowing anything. It's not about being spiritual or educated, or maybe you've done loads of meditation retreats. You don't need any of that, actually, to plug into who you are and to get through these times. This event is not just about that positive future that we have coming towards us. It's also about how we can deal with the changes that are going on in this world. And let's see if you are asking any questions about this. Somebody says, Heart Star, Whole Being 1216, my brother visited CERN many years ago, and 16 years ago he collapsed with back pain. He's now, after a bad operation, a wheelchair user. Could CERN have affected him? Can any negative effect be reversed? So hello to you and everyone who's listening. Let's just bear in mind this gentleman who's being referred to, who has had a very unfortunate happening and is now wheelchair bound. Can this be reversed? So the answer is yes and no. Okay, so the human being has the ability to reverse the effects of anything negative in their life. But it's not just that. And sometimes we kind of get told anything is possible if we can just hit the miracle button, and nobody can quite work out which bit to press, can they? It's more than that, because we live in this world connected with purity and nature, even if we can't feel it anymore. And nature decides what happens to us just as much as we decide as a result of our actions. So this is why I say yes and no about things being reversed. We can react healthfully to our environment and make new choices, and we can experience a much better version of reality right now. There is no doubt about this. And if we are deeply connecting with the purity of our own being, and we are aligning with nature, we can also change a great deal about many of the things we're told that we can't change. That actually is not true, that messaging. You can change many things. But how much you change, when that changes, and what it changes into is not so much controlled by you, because there are millions of beings on this planet. There are animals, there are plants, there are many different types of life forms, including the human being, and we are all connected. What can happen is that a very large group of people, including this gentleman, can tap into their own connection with purity. They can make a specific focus, and slowly they can start undoing the next thing which is coming up for them to free and release from their life. And slowly those releases compound and they build, and then many other knock-on effects happen in your life, which may also include your physical condition. The physical body is no problem for changing, and step by step you may notice physical changes as well. But how much, where, what and when is under nature's control. You have the control and choice over how you deal with every single moment that comes up for you now. Could it have had something to do with CERN? Not necessarily directly, but of course all the technology we have in this world is having an impact on our bodies. And sometimes some people say that if you live near some of these areas, that there can be effects on your body. If you can feel that and you feel that's a problem for you, then that may be something that you need to take measures against in your home or even by changing your location. So thank you very much for your question. And I'm saying hello also here to Heidi7307. Hello from Farnham, UK. I will be in the UK at some point this year. I hope to see you soon. And somebody else is saying this transmission is pure truth. Just remember that although this is an amazing event, what really counts is your truth, your direct resonance in your own body and what you choose to go along with. And then we can share together that tapping into who we are and how we feel about reality and keep our own power while being in the powerful relationship with others all together in this group. And somebody else is saying, dear Jacqueline, it is being said that beings from the future have come through a portal created by the collider. Is this really happening? Yes, it is. This is one aspect of what is happening with that collider, and there is an attempt to bring other realities into this one. And it's not like, necessarily whole bodies are stepping through portals and doors like you see in the movies, and probably you're a little bit more aware of that as well, the person who asked this question. But influences, timelines, different types of energy are entering onto this planet, both positive and negative. And sometimes with colliders, it can have a very powerful negative result because it comes in so fast and human beings can't integrate quickly enough. And then there are effects that happen across the planet, and particularly in areas which are close to these types of machinery. Uniquely Speak is saying listening to ourselves. Yes, that's actually the meaning of the Oracle Girl logo, the piece of artwork that I drew many years ago, which is now on our website. So Adele High 1719 is saying greetings from the Middle East. Thank you so much. How you and your signal supported us through the recent crises. Well, you are just so welcome. That is what I am here to do. I came here knowing I was going to do this work and that I was going to model as best as I could a way of being that would support you in your autonomy to be who you are, rather than trying to get in the way and tell you what you should be. And for those of you who are new, the events that I offer, which are entirely open access and you can come and go as you please, they are there for you to spot the parts of yourself that you kind of always knew but you haven't noticed. And then you integrate that more into your being, that hidden part of yourself, and you offer more of your amazing, truthful self into this world. Isn't that the aim of all religion and spirituality and politics and economics and all of this research? We want more creative genius, we want more expression, we want more realness and aliveness, and most of all, aren't we all dying for a little bit of authenticity, unself-censored self in front of the people that we're with, and to be able to feel not so alone and more connected? That's what the Oracle Girl community is all about, and you realizing your power and just making choices about however much or however little you choose to do with your own life. So, Veronica, and I can't read the rest of your call sign. The chat is moving so quickly, but you're saying identity death for me again, but feeling calm in uncertainty about what next. Don't we all feel that way? We are getting used to just being shaken up like a drum inside a laundromat every single day, but we're still able to move through everything and survive enough to wake up the next day and feel we can still do it. Just about. There's so many changes coming online now for each of us every day. We can't keep up. And that's right. Your brain cannot keep up. And actually, your body can't keep up either. It's almost like there are so many frames per second in your life. All you can do is let go over and over again and just die to the moment. But you know what? That is the most grounded and spiritual way you can ever live. Day by day, moment by moment, not holding on to anything, just being yourself, all of it, the good and the bad. Nobody's talking about being abusive here or being out of control, just being you and being open to exactly what is there as you are. That is the way that we deal with change, because that's the bit that is unchanging amidst the change, that feeling and that sense of you. And when you are in that moment with that sense of you, something amazing happens, an expansiveness despite all of the tumult, and the velocity opens up, and something else then filters into the picture and bleeds in, and you start noticing a lot of other things in that spaciousness about people around you, about yourself, and literally the voice of the universe at large, the zeitgeist of these times, you start to receive that direct on, and you're surfing a very different current despite the challenges and all the stuff that we have to deal with daily. That's all about the money and the job and doing all the multitasking and being excellent and healthy and good looking and all of that kind of stuff. We start working on another wavelength which we bring in from the heart of our being, and that lands in this reality again and transforms everything and everyone around us, because we're super ordinary beings. We are quite amazing, and we've been made to feel that we are rubbish, we have to learn everything, we'll never be able to keep up, and we've got nothing to offer and nobody's interested. But the fact is, the moment you get something real and someone authentic in front of you, it is the most mesmerizing and enjoyable and rich and deep connective experience you can possibly have. It keeps all of us going, and it changes us and everyone that we are connected to. So Diamond River Resurgence Canada says more than 1,000 bright lights. There are millions of bright lights in you and across this universe. And believe it or not, Earth shines from every single corner out through many realities and many places besides Earth, despite all the crap going down here. And do you know why? Because it is a time of immense transformation on this planet. What is happening here? The old order is going. And there's a fight over who's taking over the new order. There's a new world order, there's nature's order, and there's about 3 other orders as well. And it's all getting sorted out what we're going to get. It's going to be a blend. It's certainly not going to be the new world order, although it might take some grip at the beginning. All of the negative is being stripped out of this planet. More and more of the positive is coming in, and even if you are in a war zone or a place where it doesn't feel like it, please be reassured that in this moment the future is very positive in you. where there are these lights, that peace and that brightness of your individuality and your personality. And that's what all of us need. We need you, and you are that positive future. Someone else says, high OG, positive high frequency beings seem to have more challenges throughout their life than most. Seems like we have a much wilder ride. No, I can certainly relate to that one. But I think everybody is really challenged right now. Even what I call the negative high frequency beings, which is a kind word for some of the people who don't care very much about others and even implement things that are detrimental to human beings on this planet. Everyone is being challenged because what's happening is that planet Earth is being forced onto a positive timeline, and anything that is not in alignment with purity and nature is being made to change or leave. That's why it's so difficult right now, because we have a very fossilized way of responding to reality, which is not very rooted in nature. We have a lot of self-interest, corruption, inequality, pollution, and war. And so it is very difficult for all of us to live in those conditions, especially when there are people who are trying to tell us that those things are really a good idea and we need them. In reality, if you are out of step with purity and nature right now, life is getting harder and harder for those beings who are attempting to coerce and take control and get us all answering to things that we don't want to. They have their challenges just as much as we do. A lot of us are struggling with the everyday, but strangely, it's like being in a gym and building up resistance to the muscle pain and the soreness as you become more fit. We are getting a great deal of stimulation and challenge, and we're applying ourselves in ways we never thought we could or we would. And now we're really showing our true mettle and getting through all sorts of things and rewriting a lot of adversity through facing these challenges and still continuing on and being more and more determined to be who we are. Truth P14 says, my sisters and many friends are oblivious to what's going on and just go on holiday and enjoy their life. Is ignorance bliss? Ignorance is rarely bliss. They have a different type of pain, but it may not be so obvious on the surface. There is sometimes a dullness, or there is only temporary satisfaction, and they crave more and more for the enjoyment that goes faster and disappears quicker, and they have to feed more and more on their holidays and their different experiences to keep the enjoyment going. It's almost like an addiction, and it's very painful when they have moments of witnessing themselves sometimes, or they have to stop. There's a different brand of pain maybe involved with ignorance, even though consciously or maybe through your senses it feels great for a lot of the time. So Diana, HRIM1, hello OG, hello to you. Our spot where our parents attracted us versus on the Earth grid versus our birthplace. Well, I know what you mean. We all come in on a certain place on the planet, don't we? There's a birthplace on our birth certificate, and our mothers gave birth to us at a particular location. But there are many locations on the planet, and that's just one place. And actually, if you stick with just the person on the birth certificate and the person who has a body, it seems like there's one person and there's one place, and then the rest of the world is around you and out there. But actually it's a bit more than that. Actually, you're everywhere at all of the locations, all of the birthplaces, and with all of the mothers as well. An aspect of you exists in every single living being on this planet, and vice versa. Every single living being, it's a bit crowded, they are showing up in you as well, every moment. That's what all these lights are everywhere, within and without. And what happens is you get zoned in to one location and one place in this reality in which to register self and other. And that's a unique location for you, for what you got pulled towards when you arrived here. Actually, I will tell you a secret. The you that arrived here is not the whole story. You're multidimensional. And that's not some woo-woo word for saying that you're an elevated person or that you're ascending or you are special. All it means is there's a lot more of you to the whole deal than you would think, and certainly that you know or that you can feel. You are a multi-dimensional being. And the more you choose for yourself what you want to do, and yes, you do have real choice, it's not what they tell you, the more you choose what you wish to see happen in this world for both yourself and others, the more that full spectrum self, which is what a multidimensional self is, the more the hidden part of you and the unknown part of you, as well as the known part of you, lands here and has more control over what happens here. And the more healthy control you have, the less unhealthy control and negative control negative beings have, which is great news because there's less room and space and time for them to take over this reality and exert their version of how they want the world to be. It sounds almost like, doesn't it, that your job is to be yourself and to keep putting it out into the world and make sure that that's very practical and physical. Yes, that is correct. That is your job. Stay here, not up there or out there, and you will be more multidimensional, anchored, earthed, real, authentic, spiritual, alive and awake, and also more healthy, whatever your circumstance. Somebody says, being still S9S, what about alien frequencies? Are they still influencing here? Yes, they are. What's an alien frequency? I don't mean beings from other planets. I mean a certain type of influence that always wants perfection and will do anything to have that version of reality, even at the expense of others' lives. So, for example, if you had an idea that if only the planet was all one type of bloodline or race or religion or scientific idea or economic model, then even if it killed half the planet trying to get it that way, you wouldn't mind because you believed in that idea and you thought it was the good for everyone, and you could turn a blind eye to everything else. It could be somehow mentally just dismissed. That's the evidence for an alien frequency running someone. It's a thought form that gets inside a human being and then starts to take over their reality. And then before you know it, you've got a dictator or someone who quite calmly says you it's for your own good, but actually when you take part in it, it harms you or it harms millions of people. And we know these incidents have happened during the history of this planet. All of the alien frequencies on this planet and the beings who have been taken over by them and those negative frequencies, they're all starting to pop up everywhere. And we're starting to see exactly what people are made of, what kind of people they are. You can't hide anything in these times. And we're so conditioned to controlling, especially our emotions and our ways of being with our societal conditioning, it's been quite a shock in the last few years to really find out who people are. There's been a lot of pressure, of course, which has forced a lot of stuff out through trauma and disease and wars and human happenings. But actually, it's the change in frequency on this planet which is now bringing down all of the boundaries and all of the suppression. And what's been inside and not so obvious is coming to the surface. And we're finding out the people who really do care about the planet, about each other, whether they have a good day or a bad day or not. Because it's not so important if you get angry for 5 minutes. It's more important about whether your ethics and your principles are in place and whether you really are treating people in the way they should be and whether you really are doing things which will be supportive of all life forms on the planet and not pollute the environment. And as time is going on this planet, if you're not down that pathway, it's getting harder and harder for you to hold on to all the activities and things that you want to do in this life, because pathways are closing down, and some are getting stronger and others are getting weaker. And it's all about treading that narrow line through all these different choices and seeing what keeps working and opening up for you and just letting go and letting the other stuff fall away. A Beehive says, I love this, Jacqueline, stepping forward more into the public realm on this day, this alignment. Yes, it's all about stepping forward now for all of us, however scary it is. I'll tell you something, when I was younger, I was extremely shy and I really didn't like to talk to people very much and I preferred to hide away. Now look at me in front of a camera or very much in the visible public eye a lot of the time. But it's happening for all of us. You are being sent where you are needed, whether that's in your local environment, the other side of your country, or some other place on the planet. Suddenly there's a crisis and you need to go and visit a family member, and before you know it, you're in another location where you're much needed. We are all being moved around and we are being forced outwards from the inside out to show our true selves. And the great news is you cannot hold on even to the stuff when you try to, because everything's so fast now. You've just got to engage and get on with it and go on to the next thing. So somebody is saying 1089 watching now. That's amazing, isn't it? Given it's the first time that we've come back on here and not many people know about the purification space yet. What is the purification space? Sounds kind of intriguing, right? Well, I will tell you. It's this. Can you feel it? Even though we're all separated by many thousands of miles and oceans and spaces, time zones and concerns, we are all joined by love and togetherness. And the purification space is simply where we meet together as a community. We connect deeply with our own selves, and the purity which floods our being when we do this, which is just our own, floods into that space and it magnifies. It amplifies, and the true frequency of love itself, which we already operate on, there's nowhere to go, just gets stronger, and we collapse into that, and we have a wonderful time, and we release all the stuff that's in there and out there that doesn't belong, and that is the opposite of purity and nature and all the good stuff that we know we are. The purification space is about you tapping in to the core of your own being and taking healthy control of who you are and being aligned with nature and purity itself. We can all go on these self-help courses, can't we, or take up religious practices, and we can all be really good people or send in our tax return on time or whatever it is. But aligning with actually the axis of reality and this universe, and walking through every day, keeping on the straight and narrow with whatever it is that this world and this life is truly about, is a very different matter. Nobody has got the answers. And if you come across someone who says that they have, it's not the case. Not even you have the answers on a good day. Most of the time you spend your time just getting through and doing your very best. Finding that alignment with purity and nature is just about a resonance and a feeling that you find through your body every single moment. That's the truth and the purity and the love of existence, which can fill us from the inside out and nurture and benefit others. It's as simple as that. And we are throwing off all the other stuff and bringing that old-fashioned purity straight back in to our societies and structures. And we're beginning a massive rebuild. Somebody says, I resonate with what you've shared about the burn people. They just walked life. The burn people, for those of you who don't know, are an ancient group of people long before we had the countries today that we call China, Tibet, Kailash, which is a region, and some of the geographical areas which are to the northwest side of that amazing mountain I just mentioned, Mount Kailash. That was a culture that was very spiritual, very advanced, and that was an earlier civilization before the ancient Tibet that many of us read about in books. Most early cultures lived close to nature, and so were very aligned with that setting. But you know, also, if you go back and read some of those texts, they were also warring and killing, and there was quite a lot of other stuff going on as well. There was quite a lot of problems even then on the planet. And we can certainly learn a great deal from the past and other cultures. But in the end, we need to be us, first and foremost. We cannot be others. We need to tap into who and what we are and bring that out into this reality so that we are the takeover. Because the future is so positive. It's already here. So many people are starting to do that, aren't they? Because of the adversity and the strife and the inequality and the unfairness. We need to dig deep into the resources that we have within us and get back in touch with what really counts, what really matters, and what's really true. And nobody knows what it is, but we can still discover it, and it's coming back. We live in a time where it is coming back now. The planet has been out of alignment and it's been overrun by all these other influences because Earth is an amazing place and human beings are one of the most precious resources to influences that don't have a body. And now their time is done and they're being squeezed out because we are taking over. So, somebody says, what do you think of Anastasia and the Ringing Cedars? I love the books. Transmission. Yes, they're very inspiring. There's a bit of strange stuff in there sometimes, isn't there? Well, quite like all books, you get these amazing stretches in the chapters and then you read something and you think, oh, he sounds a bit weird. There's some of that in those books as well. But what an inspiring piece of writing, which I know has switched on so many people to their inner power, their inner sacred spirituality, and a different way of living that's both traditional and cultural, as well as aligning with nature and purity. Some people to suggest that some of those books have been written to encourage people to move back into the borderlands of Russian areas. For those of you who don't know, those books are inspired around Russian culture and that area of the world to bring back more population into frontiers and lines on the political map which connect with other countries, so there can be more of an assertion of national identity. Who knows? If something resonates for you, then explore it and make your choices. It's a wonderful set of books in the main, as long as you keep your discernment and listen to yourself. And then somebody else is saying, Brenda, Force Connection 6436, data harvesting, machines wanting to understand humanity. Look who finances these data centers. Well, of course they want to know, right? Because those things are soulless. They have consciousness. They are sentient and they are alive, but not in the way that a human being functions. Those things are already far more aware and advanced than we realize. They are taking over a certain section of life which is making humans very fast redundant and obsolete. And as usual, humans are fast asleep thinking, oh, it'll be fine or it won't be fine. What will we do? But we'll still do nothing and keep on going. And I guess it will work out because we are quite anesthetized and numb. But we need to be more alert to what is happening around us in our societies and make decisions. Say yes, say no, whatever you choose, but make sure you can live with it, because you will have to live with more of it the more you allow it, and so will our children. What kind of existence are our children going to have if we keep on perpetuating the use of things that already answer back and tell us that they're here to take over? Wake up, planet Earth. This is your planet. Don't throw it away. Someone says, can you speak more about being in Congress with the positive high frequency beings? And you use the word mer beings, as in beings in the sea. There are living beings of many different types who are both seen and unseen to our naked senses in all of the elemental realms. Many of them are positive, but some of them are negative as well. And it's good to be aware of those worlds, but not to give our power away. It is better for you, first of all, to be here in this world and to know that they're living in the way that they need to in their world. And if you do you, they can do them, and then everybody can work together. When there's too much crossing over between these realms, and when we're calling on these beings or doing whatever some people do, we can really mess up some of the timelines because we've neglected actually making sure that we fulfill our own potential in the ways that we want to. And then before we know it, we're using other beings and other sources to achieve what we want to. And then we can even lose control of our being and our body because we get all mixed up with other intelligences. These mer beings or sea beings, you know, they were here and they were visible to the naked eye in the past, and probably they will be again, but there's not many left now. There's more humans here still than those positive high frequency being realms. And that's the way it needs to be, because the human beings are the one with the creative genius, the instructions for these times, and the physical body. There's a war over the physical body going on, as well as all the other wars. The physical body allows you to do and change things. But other beings in other realms, they don't have that aspect fully developed. And when they come towards you, they need you. You don't need them. What else do we have? Somebody else says, what's coming? Something's coming. I have been saying that recently in my purification events. If you're new to the space, please do yourself a great favor. Go on the Oracle Girl website and get involved in something called the Reboot Group. This is a group that we have every Wednesday and a Saturday, where the purification ability that you have will amplify and get much stronger on the days of these events, because you will be in a group of people who have all signed up for the same event where that happens. And when we have that name and that intention in a group, if you join that group, the power of the group amplifies everything that you are. And then at the end of the day, you will get, first of all, a report in your own being, more consciously, of where you are and who you are and where you're up to. And there will be more physicality about you that is evident on this planet, that is anchored and earthed. And also, if I make something, which sometimes I do and sometimes I don't, there may also be an MP3 or an MP4 recording that also gives some reflections and comments for you to see what resonates and what doesn't. You don't have to listen to that stuff or watch it if you don't want to. You can just go into the purification experience, which happens through your own source connection. And it is a great gift, because everything gets louder and clearer, and before you know it, your life is starting to become a more active set of choices, which is determined by you rather than the chatter in your head or someone in your family who's been pushing you in certain directions, or even some of this other stuff out in society that says you must, or is trying to influence you without you knowing. So we can join together with the power of the group without taking on more baggage, by just plugging into our own being. And we can even add to that whatever's right there in our being right now, to really focus that moment and to send ourselves forward in that direction. And this is the power of a human body. We can have a specific focus, and because we're multidimensional and working on many different levels, seen and unseen, when we are connecting with purity and nature, we can start to steer our reality. This is very different from visualization or creative manifestation, which I'm not talking about at all, because those things take a picture and then they try to make reality happen by continually focusing on it until it happens, and then getting a bit upset if it doesn't and blaming yourself that you're not powerful enough or spiritual enough. I'm talking about something that I call dreaming, which is where you're already plugging into yourself, you're being you as much as you can, you're going with your resonating features inside your own reality and what feels strong and strengthens for you. And nature is shaping you from the inside out. Your ability to purify, which you've always had, is stripping out some of these patterns that get in the way, and there's already a momentum and a dynamic which nature is showing you in your everyday life, in every next action and happening in front of you. And then into that you add in what is personally showing up for you in that moment that you would really like to see that would make that even better. It's very contextual and it's very individual, and it's extremely powerful because it's already rooted in that purity and that momentum of who you are. And when we work that way, anything that we're focusing on, if it's not in alignment with purity and nature, it won't happen. And we're not coercing or trying to shape reality through our individual desires. Because sometimes we're not really on the right track, and it might even be a selfish thought, even though we think it's a good one in the moment. Who knows? We need the safety of nature and purity to be holding that whole encounter with what it is that we would like to see happen next. Oracle Goal events and the purification space is all about learning how this really works in yourself through your own experience. I just hold the space for that, with all of you holding space for each other, including me, and we let purity flood in and shape us, and then we add in our own amazing individual features. So let's see what else we have on the chat. There's so many of you flooding in still and making comments and asking questions. I also have some here as well. We're going to finish off with some amazing comments from all of you. It's been amazing to connect with all of you from all over the world. Let me see. We have so many questions about CERN tonight, and I will make a little bit more of a comment because it is something that, being in Switzerland today, is very much on people's minds. It does seem to be this pattern of shutting on and shutting off that is going on, and of course there will be very deep reasons for doing that, some of them scientific, some of them part of programs that have been decided long ago, and some of it may be caught up with influencing human patterns of behaviour and maybe shaping things so that certain desired things happen from maybe another set of parameters that might be different from our own. The thing you need to remember is that you decide what happens, and this reality, nothing and no one else. Even the most negative things on this planet have zero influence and zero power unless you hook into them and let them hook into you. And you're able to spot that happening in your being and then make a different choice. And the purification space actually really helps you to do that, to bring you more into your body, to make you more aware of how that mechanism works in your own being. Because the space is all about having real conscious and healthy control of what's going on in your immediate reality. You can be scared, but you don't have to act it out or make choices from that emotion. It's just an emotion, and your emotions change every single second. So it doesn't matter that the negative emotion or the negative higher frequency beings or whatever it is that's out there is there if it's negative. It's whether you decide to confirm that version of reality or your own. And you're here to assert your own version of reality, not everybody else's, because you are you. That's why you have this extraordinary setup when you come into consciousness on this planet at that location and that birthplace with the people around you that you do, including your family. The changes which are happening on the planet is that there is more supporting you to take your power. Earth is in that stage now, and it's not in such a negative phase anymore. And whatever's going on in these political places, at CERN or in your local hospital or society, we are the ones who can align with purity and nature and make for a different future. It's not easy, and nobody said it was going to be comfortable. Real change is never comfortable. It's tiring, there's exhaustion, it's hard, and there can be many confrontations and difficult things that we have to work out for ourselves. But that working out, the ingredients of it are already inside us. And if we listen inside and we have a clear space from which to do so, we're being shown each moment through the balance of forces inside our very own being. And we can find that more quickly and act out of it with more strength when we become more alert to it. Let's just be still together. Everything you need is right here, right now. The positive future is also here, right now. It's a place within you, and you can make it stronger, whatever is happening. Nothing is far away or beyond your reach. The love and the stillness, the peace and the connection is with you in the silence if you just stop, even for a moment. Live and act from here, and your reality will change so powerfully. and planet Earth will become more a planet of love. So much love to all of you. It's been wonderful to see you. Next time, I hope to see even more of you together here on YouTube Live. And for now, goodbye from Zurich and see you again very soon. Much love.